have been, I don't even know how to describe them really, other than visiting alternate timelines. Invitations to, staying in a timeline that has demonstrated itself not to work in my favor. And it's not that I'm visiting timelines that I've actually, what are the words? That I'm actually aware that I've been to, like scenarios that I have actually lived through in this lifetime. But there are components of those scenarios that I've lived through. So, like the last couple of nights, there's been a lot of invitation to staying stuck and moving backwards. A lot of cannabis smoking in my dreams, and a lot of drinking. Which both of those things I've used over the years to anesthetize me. To tolerate, I guess, being in a situation, whatever that situation was, that was outside of my desire to feel through. And I say that specifically because it wasn't outside of my wheelhouse to feel through. Like I have had become accustomed to feeling unsafe and feeling scared and feeling, and turning that fear into an excitement, I guess, is the best way to put it. When I say I guess, it just means I'm guessing it's the best way to put it. And, in my dreams the last couple nights, especially as I've been packing up and moving intentionally toward this partnership. Well, I'm in the partnership, so I'm not moving toward the partnership. So that's not the right words. Moving intentionally toward the cohabitation of this partnership, which is another level of intimacy and another level of, togetherness and all of that. A lot of fear is coming up. And even right now when I'm talking, there's so much fear in my body that, and my body is fighting against me and saying just stay stuck, change course. And I don't want to change course. I believe that everything that I have desired within just the context of my life and with partnership and connection and etc. is just past all of this fear. And so I'm committed to moving through it, but I'm also committed to moving through it in a way that lets me feel it. As a raven just comes down out of the tree, of course. Hi, honey. So, I've committed to feeling it and not anesthetizing it and not pretending it's not there. And I think that's the part of me that feels the most exposed, the most uncertain, or yeah, that is the right word. That part of me feels uncertain. This part of me, my current, the part of me that's prompting action feels very certain. And, other parts of me are having to catch up to that certainty because, I've had blind certainty before, right? I've had anesthetized certainty before where, I'm smoking blunt to face every day, all day, and I'm like, yeah, I definitely want to do this, and it's my insides were so just damped down with, with drugs. I mean, with numbing agents that I couldn't even hear, or at least it was easier to pretend that I couldn't hear the internal warnings. And in this, I am fully awake. Oh God. And that feels scary to me. And my dreams are seducing me backward, right? My dreams are, these like sexy ideas of like, oh, let's go and hang out with a bunch of people, like, and I don't know, maybe there are people that I have met in the past. I don't know. Some of the faces are similar, but many of the faces are not. They're just manifestations of energy that I've been exposed to. And they're in these like really like intriguing situations, like at a pool party, but like an indoor pool party at a hookah bar, where everybody's like beautiful and sexy and everybody's, taking pills, random pills, and drinking out beautiful drinks, and everybody's laughing, and everybody's, touching, and all of this, chaos, masked as intimate connection through anesthetization? I don't know, fucking through substance use, And, I look at that and I'm like, oh, like in my dream, there's part of me that's like, oh, like maybe that's so sexy, and maybe like, okay, like maybe that's what I'm supposed to do. Maybe I'm supposed to be here. And, my higher consciousness is right there with me. And it's saying, you've been here. You've been to all these places, and you have found nothing that's fulfilling. You have found nothing. You have found things that are, I guess, sustainable, because even insustainability is sustainable for a period of time. Even chaos is sustainable for a period of time. Even complete fuckery is sustainable for a period of time. So to label it as unsustainable, like that begs, a measurement that you don't even have yet, right? Like, this is unsustainable. It's like, really? But how long could you sustain it? So it's just unfulfilling, I think, more than unsustainable, because I've sustained crazy patterns in my life for extended periods of time, trudging through it day in and day out, just looking for something to fill me up that I couldn't find because I was looking in places that were unfulfilling. Sustainability has very little to do with my equation right now if I really look at it, because I can sustain bullshit for an inordinate amount of time, trying to grow a flower, from that fertilization. But the thing is that the flower that I want to grow is not going to grow there because not the right seed is planted in that particular soil. So these dreams, like my higher consciousness is right next to me, and it's just like, is this really what you want? And the answer is no. There is no question. There is no doubt in my mind that I don't want to go back to a place where I am looking for the fulfillment that I deserve in places that don't have the capacity to even begin to contribute to filling me in any, aligned way. I am just used to those spaces and places. And so it feels really challenging to look at it and to recognize that it can be equal parts like attractive in its own way. It's attractive because I recognize it. Like, oh, I know you. What's up, bro? How you doing? Right? It's like walking into a strange room that you've never been in, even if it's the most beautiful room you've ever seen, and seeing that one person that you know, so you don't have to be perceived as alone in that space. But when that person that you know is the person who's going to seduce you back to the smaller room, to the uglier room, to the room that eats your soul and doesn't feed your soul, then you gotta pause and question whether or not going with that person just for that momentary brief, spark of familiarity is worth it. And it's not. It's just not for me. I can't speak for anybody else. But for me, it's not worth it. I loved the people in those spaces and places. Whew. I loved the people in those spaces and places. And I think that's like the thing that makes it really sticky, is because it makes it so much easier to fall back into patterns that don't serve me at all, because I can carry this fact that, but I loved those people. I loved those moments, but there's even varying vibrations of love. There's chaotic love, there's violent love, there's, everybody says, well, that's not love. I don't believe that. I believe that there are multiple layers of love, just like there are multiple layers of any fucking energy, and I get it. Like, I hear it in my head right now about how that's such a controversial thing to say. Like, violent love, what is that? It's a love that exists below the frequency that any one person can attain. It doesn't mean it's not love. It's just not love that has been elevated to a place, above that violence, whatever that is, physical violence, emotional violence, spiritual violence. And that's the thing that becomes so seducing, is like, oh, you want to go into this room? Come on into this room, baby. Let's go. Let's come into this room. Because you loved the energies and the people who existed in that room for a long time. But I don't want to go back into that room. I want to keep moving forward, and it's fucking hard, bro. It's hard. And I wish I could say it wasn't, and because I know that my words create my reality, and so I'm sitting here like grappling with this idea that I'm making it hard because I'm saying that it's hard, but my truth is that right now it feels really fucking hard. And I'm on my way to work, and like the last thing on the planet I want to do is go to work right now. I just want to like ball up and I just want to cry it all out. My dream so fucking potent and have brought me back to places that I have to reconcile in some way in order to leave those things behind me and let them fertilize the soil of the garden that I'm creating. I feel like this particular cry that I'm engaging in right now has been on deck for a while, and I've just been holding it at bay. Like, I feel like it was on deck even during this last ceremony, and I let some of it come out, but I couldn't dare let all of it come out. And, you know, the truth is that there are people who exist in those energies that I love, as I've said multiple times now, that I would benefit from not giving access to me. God, I feel like that's like the first. Breathe in that truth, girl. And I guess I don't entirely know what that looks like without having to fight for it. And I guess it just looks like walking away and laying down and just letting them float away and feel however they're going to feel about my absence. You know, angry, sad, aloof. Maybe they notice my absence and maybe they don't, and maybe whether or not they notice it or not is this place where hurt exists for me. Like, am I not interesting enough to miss? There are people who I have allowed to siphon off of my energy just so I can prove to myself that I'm worthy of missing. That I'm worthy of remembering, because I just want to be remembered. Oh, God bless. That's hard. Oh, that's hard to look at. Giving people doses of me that don't dose me back, just so I can then walk away to prove to myself, like, you know, to sit and wonder, are they going to miss me? And really, who cares if they're going to miss me or not? I mean, part of me does, obviously. But why? How about I miss me? I miss me, and I want to give myself the attention that I deserve. right in front of our face, looking at us in the mirror every day when we stand in front of a mirror and do whatever we're doing, get dressed, brush our teeth, do our hair, whatever the case may be. It's like right there. It's right there. Right in front of our face. I mean, talk about being within arm's reach. It's inside of us. It's in our arm. Like there's no having to reach outward. It's all about reaching inward. And I wish that those places didn't have any seductive powers, right? I wish those places didn't have any ability to be like, hey girl, why don't you come back over here? Like, I wish that I could look at those places and be like, you're not sexy at all. But there are parts of it, you know, that feel sexy because, like, it feels so familiar. But familiarity is not synonymous with fulfillment. Two F words that can mean, you know, very much the same thing, but can be complete polar opposites of one another. Complete. And my fulfillment does not exist in that particular familiarity. It actually siphons that familiarity siphons my energy, siphons my life force. And it does so because I have awareness now. If I allow myself to go back into that place, it siphons it off with my permission. God damn it. And I don't give it permission. I don't give it permission. It doesn't have my permission to take my energy. And I call all of my energy back to me in this moment. All my energy that I have spent outward trying to convince myself or anyone else that I was worthy by allowing myself to live in a vibration that does not hold the fullness of me, I call that energy back to me, to be transmuted, to be disintegrated, and to be realigned into energy that does fulfill me, and that does feed me, and that does move the calcification of the wounds that I'm continuing to hold on to so that they too can be released. I am sovereign and I am autonomous and I get to choose that. I get to choose that. And I get to align and realign myself at my command, that's not the word I'm looking for, at my desire, so that I can live a life that is filled fully with the energy that I choose to bring in, without permission from anyone else, without seeking approval from anyone else, just because I am, and because it is my divine right to make those choices. There are people who keep showing up in my dreams with whom it is becoming more clear to me that I have a soul contract with them. And I'm not entirely certain quite yet of the details of that soul contract, but I know that they're helping shepherd me through this transformation. And I will reach out to them individually to thank them for showing up to shepherd me through this transformation. It's very interesting who the universe puts on my path to remind me of my way. Like, it's confusing to me if I get too heady about it. And so instead of getting heady about it, I'm just going to receive it with gratitude that there are a few human people. I have a lot of human people in my life, but there are a handful of human people in my current life who are showing up in these dreams to help point me in the right direction. It's pretty fucking huge. And I'm very, very grateful.